Today we are talking about being snowbirds. This is our first year that we're leaving our winter wonderland in Minnesota, and we're spending the cold months of the winter, January, February, and March, and heading someplace warmer.
Now, you might think, well, of course, people do this all the time. They go to Arizona or Texas or Florida, have great times. They might take an RV and drive all over south of the snow belt. Well, we're going to try something a little different. We're going to start here
and travel the world. So today we're here, and just 2 days later we are
here
and here and here
and here and here.
We're filming this portion of our video in beautiful Bali, Indonesia, at this fabulous resort that has complete White Lotus vibes, if you are a fan of the HBO series, which we are. No murder in our personal plot, thankfully. But we want to share with you some alternatives to the traditional snowbirding approach of buying a second property.
We know a ton of people, and this actually makes a lot of sense. You get toward that retirement age and you go spend a week or two, maybe with a friend, visit some friends, they recommend you come down. The next time you go down and you get a place that you find out that's available for a month, and then by the third year you're buying a place. Now you've got a place in Arizona or Texas or Florida. Not a bad idea, really, and it's right for a lot of people. We did something like that. We actually bought a second home near ours in a university town. It turns out our daughter went to school there. We owned it, became her housing, and then she graduated and is an adult now and moved on. And we sold the place because we found that our ongoing expenses to that, we could have applied to that home in Arizona, Florida, Texas. But if we added that up, we could budget that money, not own a second place, and travel the world like we're doing.
And we did a little research. I mean, we were genuinely planning to buy a home in a warmer location, and we checked out Arizona, Texas, Florida, and we visited, but nothing was hitting. Like we didn't connect. Like these were places that we wanted to spend 4 to 6 months out of the year. Plus, if we were paying to maintain, even owning things outright, just maintaining 2 different properties with property taxes, HOA fees, having someone check in on your other home while you're gone, that didn't leave much for travel, which is our first passion in traveling the world. So that brought us to decide to instead investing in a second home, travel the coldest months of our winters instead. What we would like to do is lay out 3 different scenarios that might help you think through if this is an alternative that might work for you as well. We didn't want to go deep into real estate prices and determine the cost of living at each one of these locations. So we're going to use some simple math instead and start with the amount of $2,000 a month. So if you have a property and you're paying $2,000 a month, you probably own it outright, but you still have to pay homeowners association fees, insurance, property taxes, those type of things. So what could you do with $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year as far as travel during the winter months? And our recommendation is you could spend 5 months traveling through Southeast Asia, which is actually what we are doing now.
Mm-hmm. And so we went to these lower cost countries, such as Malaysia, Thailand. Singapore was not lower cost, but we found a way to make it pretty affordable. And here we are now in Indonesia, Bali, Indonesia, yet another affordable country. We're planning to go up to Taiwan, and that's looking like it's pricing out pretty well
and
as
Vietnam,
well.
Vietnam.
And, oh my goodness, yeah, we're going to spend close to a month in Vietnam. And so all of those provide us the opportunity to spread our money further. So we've chosen the not established equity route and are transferred right to these really great locations. And we're missing one winter in the northern United States as an added bonus.
And Southeast Asia can appear a little exotic and intimidating. We hadn't been to this region of the world before. We've traveled all over, but have not been to this region. And we've absolutely loved it. It's some of the cheapest countries in the world for an American. We're U.S. citizens, so we're coming from this American perspective to travel. So to give you some examples of just your most expensive costs are going to be your lodging, your airfare, and your food. From a lodging perspective, there were many places that we are staying that cost $50 to $60 a night. I have to say, when I was initially booking, I was really nervous because what kind of place are you getting for $50 a night? And we stayed in nice, full apartments. We had our own kitchen, we had a couch, a chair, and all that type of thing. We had a pool that was accessible, and it was a serviced apartment. And this was, in example, Chiang Mai, Thailand. We were able to stay in Bangkok, which is a major city, for less than $100 a night. So these are really economical places to stay for any length of time. Food, also incredibly cheap.
Yeah, when we splurge and sit down at a restaurant and have a drink and all of that, I don't know if we spent $40. Oh, we've done it a couple of times. Like, went crazy and spent $60, didn't we? Did we spend $60?
I had lobster thermidor the other night.
That's right. Lobster thermidor bumped us up past 50. That's right. So, in other words, we're sort of looking for times when we've spent kind of what you do in a big lunch in Oslo, Norway, frankly. So you can, if you apply yourself the right way and do a little planning, you can make that $24,000 go an awfully long way. Okay, scenario 2, instead of $2,000 a month, $2,500 a month, $30,000 a year. What can you do with a winter away snowbird experience for about $30,000? Well, 3 months in Southern Europe. And when we say Southern Europe, Portugal, Costa del Sol, Spain, southern Spain, the Côte d'Azur, the southern coast of France. 3 months there. Now, if you're more comfortable with that kind of European vacation feel, these are the places for you, and they can be made relatively affordable, say about $30,000 for 3 months, covers everything, and it's a great time. And we've done it, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. These are all places, so we're not recommending any place that we haven't been, and we do have a whole video that's just on European getaways. If you're okay with trading off the really warm weather, but for us, like, we've gone to Nice multiple times in the winter, and Nice is a more expensive city, so you'd have to be price shopping a little bit there. But it has been 50 to 60 degrees warmer than our home base from there. So it's just fabulous.
So that's at about $30,000 for 3 months, which brings us to scenario 3.
And $3,000 a month. So in that case, you are likely paying on a mortgage, maybe have some interest on top of your regular maintenance fees of your property taxes and whatnot. When we were going through different potential scenarios, I have to say this next one was one that we talked about, like, maybe we should do this next year. And that is spending 3 months in New Zealand and Australia during their peak summer months, because they're in the Southern Hemisphere, so we have a season flip. So that would involve visiting like Auckland in the North Island, in the South Island, the cities of Christchurch, Queenstown, the Southern Alps, which are absolutely stunning. You on the west side, you have Franz Josef Glacier, you have Doubtful Sound, Milford Sound, which have these beautiful fjords. And there's also a quaint little area called Dunedin where you can watch little blue penguins. So in New Zealand. And then Australia, which is a massive country, which I think as Americans we underestimate just how big it is. It's hitting Sydney, Melbourne, going to the central red center of Australia to see Uluru, which is a very famous rock formation. Or going up north to Port Douglas, which is where you can see one of the 7 wonders of the world with the Great Barrier Reef. So that's what you could do for $36,000 during your winter stint.
So there you have it. 3 scenarios to help you take a look into your future and see where you might go for this kind of vacation. Scenario one was $2,000 a month can turn into $24,000 a year, can turn into 5 months in Southeast Asia. $2,500 a month or $30,000 over the course of a year can turn into 3 months in Europe. Or $3,000 a month, $36,000 a year can turn into 3 months throughout Australia and New Zealand. So pretty cool. Hey, if you like the content you've been seeing from us, hit like and subscribe to our channel. And thank you for listening and watching Wanderlust with the Mackenzies. Tell your friends.
And happy travels.